right, everybody, Willie Bam Johnson, Fooyah Magazine 2014, from the underground to Mr. Richard Norton. Mr. Richard Norton, this is a magazine geared towards kids, not really so much martial arts, but kids out there on the street that might be getting in trouble, might be athletes in the martial arts. If you can empower someone with why you got the martial arts and why you're still in the martial arts, what can you say to the next generation right now about the importance of training in the arts?
Well, for me, it's all about passion. You know, martial art, I started martial arts when I was 11. It gave me a reason not to smoke, it gave me a reason not to drink, because I wanted to be that little bit better every class. You know, my instructor was very, it's almost like a second dad, you know, still. So it's important for me to impress him with my dedication, everything to the arts. And again, the problem with a lot of kids is, you know, a lot of people, they start something like martial arts so much later in life and they try and fit it into their life. By starting young, for me as a kid, you know, and a lot of them even younger, you can then make that a part of your life and have everything else fit around that. And it's why I wake up every day, you know. I just love the idea of learning something new, of experiencing something new, of having my body, my mind behave in an extraordinary manner, you know, with some of the techniques we do and everything. And it's also about the team, you know, it's about being a part of a team. You know, as we know, there's a lot of gangs. It's about being a little lost, about wanting somebody at least to be alongside them. You know, Chuck Norris got me very interested in that. He's a very dear friend, and he had a Kickstart program. And it was really about becoming part of the Chuck Norris team. That was the game. But for all the right reasons, you know. I think there's a lot to be said for martial arts in that sense. We're still trying to teach morality and integrity, you know, and all the good values that go, you know, as you know, with the tradition of martial arts. So they're just great reasons. Discipline, you know, the obvious things.
How do you feel about MMA when you look at MMA today?
No, look, I'm fine with it. You know, for me, a lot of the MMA is almost like WWE wrestling. What people don't know is a lot of the bad guys, they're almost characters, you know. You need to draw the crowds in. I know a lot of those guys, and behind the scenes, a lot of them do have a traditional background, not everybody, and they do have a lot of values and everything. I'd like to see a little bit more of that put across. I think the public perception is, you know, tattooed testosterone led guys, and not necessarily the case, you know. But mixing, you know, the UFC is just a sport version of MMA anyway, you know. MMA, we've all done that. We mix boxing and judo and wrestling, and that to me is what MMA is about anyway.
We created something called Point MMA, which is kind of like geared towards giving the kids a chance to do that sport, compete with that sport, and not go through the locks. But to me, I think teaching a kid an arm lock is like teaching them how to shoot a gun. I don't think, you know, when I came up in the martial arts, there was a set of deadly techniques that children just didn't learn. When you got older, after your teenage years, because even as a teen, you're going to go a little while. I mean, how do you feel about that, giving kids that sort of power at such a young age?
It's still about the guidance, the instruction, the level of instruction. You know, it's about empowering them with the right reasons when and when not to use something. Like a back choke, you know. I would rather, if I was in a fight, I'd rather be choked unconscious than knocked unconscious. At least everything's okay and I go to sleep. But adults go, look at the amount of police that have gotten in trouble through putting restraining holds on people. It's a matter of how you put that knowledge across. All the caveats of when you do, when not, because the dangers are, you know. I mean, even armbars, a lot of adults get really cheeky out. Why? Because their egos, you know, they get all, I don't know, I'm okay with kids that are certain. What I wouldn't do with kids is teach things like headbutts and taking somebody's eye out, because you wouldn't want to be responsible for a kid going to the schoolyard and saying, oh, look at I learned. But, so yes, we've got to be smart about what we teach them. But again, it's giving them that parent-like instruction, you know, but emphasizing just going to be using the screen. So hopefully then they'll know at the right time to do it.
And in closing, I just want to say to you, and I say to the kids that might be watching, never stop dreaming, because I don't know if you ever heard my story of all what I went through to become the person out of jail, homelessness, everything. But I remember times being homeless, I used to go and see the Octagon, and to see you in that role, and never stopped dreaming. Even when I was living on the street, I continued to have my portfolio and my vision. And after 20-some years, look at me now.
Yeah.
So a kid who might think it's hopeless, I ain't gonna get from under this bridge or this trailer, you will.
100%. Well, you know, I never ended up, you know, in those sort of circumstances, but I was a skinny, asthmatic kid from a little suburb from Melbourne, Australia. And I say that to people, if a skinny little asthmatic kid can end up doing 70, 80 movies, travel the world, then anybody can do it. They can. It all gets down to how badly do you want it. You know? Absolutely. Somebody's got to do it, why not us?
Yes, sir. So thank you.
All right,
Being my hero.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Best.